What's up, everybody? My name's Estix, and today we're going over one of the strongest commanders from Tarkir Dragonstorm. That's right, Neriv, Heart of the Storm, which reads, if a creature you control that entered this turn would deal damage, it deals twice that much damage instead, which means that we are going to be taking advantage of hasty creatures and creatures with ETB triggers. But not only that, there is a secret little thing that you can do with this commander to push him over the edge. Now, let's start with the ETB creatures to break this down. Starting out with Fear of Burning Alive, which when enters deals 4 damage to target opponent, and then has Delirium. Whenever a source you control deals non-combat damage to a player, if there are 4 or more card types among cards in your graveyard, Fear of Burning Alive deals that amount of damage to target creature that player controls. So you'll be doing damage to creatures as they are dropping onto the battlefield with its Delirium ability, so this is giving you multi-value. Next we have Flame Tongue Kavu, which whenever it enters it deals 4 damage to a target creature, which is going to be 8 damage with your commander. And then we have Ossuary Rats, which whenever it enters the battlefield, it does X damage to a target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Now this is going to be black and white, so you have plenty of things to bring back creatures from the graveyard, which we will actually be doing later in the build, so this card is very important. Next, we have Hell's Thunder, which is 3 mana, flying, and a haste, and at the beginning of your end step you have to sacrifice it. But with that flying and that haste coming onto the battlefield, you're going to be able to attack and get off damage the same time as it drops. But it also has Unearth, which is very good for bringing it back onto the battlefield for a turn to do another additional X amount of damage. And for our final card of this section, Calamity, Galloping Inferno, which has haste, and whenever it attacks while saddled, you choose a non-legendary creature that saddled it, and whenever it attacks, you create a token of that card. Now, this only doesn't create one token, it creates another token, so you do 2 different steps to this. So if you have Flame Tongue Kavu out, you can actually do 2 drops of Flame Tongue Kavu, dealing 16 damage to a creature. Now, that would be pretty good with something like Brash Taunter, which would constantly want to be hit. And if you just use abilities like this for regular creatures like Fear of Burning Alive, you are just going to continuously get a ton of damage just by having him drop and while he's just attacking himself. And he has haste, just to put that on a little bit of a pedestal, because you're going to be able to use him the turn that he comes out. Next, let's talk about that. Let's talk about the hasty creatures that are going to make this deck very important and very fast. Starting off with Ball Lightning. Now, Ball Lightning is a simple 3 red Piff creature with trample and haste. And at the beginning of your end step, you sacrifice this creature. But it has 6/1. So if it deals 6 damage, it will actually do 12 damage the same turn that your commander is out. That would be devastating for certain people that are just trying to hold on at the end of the game, or someone who's completely tapped out. Next, we have Rekindling Phoenix. Now, when Rekindling Phoenix dies, it goes into the graveyard. You get to create a totem. Now, this totem actually allows you to bring back Rekindling Phoenix. Now, as Rekindling Phoenix is being brought back, it also gains, that's right, haste. And whenever you gain that haste and it comes back, it was able to do damage to a player each time it comes back. That is very good for these hasty creatures, because instead of doing 4 damage, you have 8 damage and flying. Next, a Phoenix as well, Othari, Sun's Glory. Now, whenever you attack with Othari, you actually put a counter on him, and this counter allows you to create Rebel tokens, and these Rebel tokens also have to attack. And so if you're attacking with a ton of tokens and he has a bunch of experience counters on him, then as the game goes, you'll be doing, instead of 2 damage each time you attack, you'll be doing 4 damage you attack with these Rebels. So not only are you getting Othari, you're also getting all these tokens that are going to do double the amount of damage. Next up, we have Frenzied Saddlebrute, which has haste, and then it gives all other creatures haste. Basically, it says that they can attack as if they had haste, but they gain haste. This is only important for cards like Eater of Virtue and stuff like that, that they don't have haste, but the fact that they can attack as if they had haste is very important for this deck. Now, last but not least, Rising of the Day does this as well. Now, Rising of the Day is an enchantment, so it's going to be a lot harder to remove, and it's not very expensive to get onto the battlefield. So I really recommend it for this deck in particular. And all these creatures that are coming out and doing Warstorm Surge type damage are actually going to do even more damage because they're going to be able to attack the first turn they're out. So now let's get into the juice, and this is more ways to win. Starting off with Bryon's Stout Arm. Now he has lifelink, and you can tap him and sacrifice a creature, and then you get to deal damage equal to that creature's power. And since he has lifelink, you will heal that amount of damage that you do. Now this would be really good with Rekindling Phoenix, so I figured I'd add it onto this list because you can tap him, throw the Phoenix. Whenever you get your Phoenix back, you can attack for damage, sacrifice him, and do the whole loop again. And as mentioned earlier, Warstorm Surge is going to be really good in this deck, and it's not because it's doubled up or anything, but you're already doing Warstorm Surge type things, so adding Warstorm Surge is just going to triple your damage instead of doubling it. Next, we have Nahiri's Resolve. Now, Nahiri's Resolve is an enchantment that reads, creatures you control get +1/+0 and have haste. Pretty good for the deck so far. And then at the beginning of your end step, you may exile any number of non-token artifact creatures you control. Return those creature cards to the battlefield under the owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. Now, you will be doing this to your creatures. So anything that's going to be dropping for damage, you'll be getting back with Nahiri's Resolve. And then you'll be getting the doubling of the damage because of your dragon, because they entered this turn. So this is very good for this deck. I recommend, if you have this card, taking it out of whatever deck you have and shoving it in this one if you're building it. It's going to be really good. It's literally built for this deck, it seems like. It really is. Champion of Stray Souls does the same sort of deal where you want to bring all your creatures back, but you actually have to tap it, actually sacrifice X creatures, and bring the other ones back. Now, this actually is like half scale for this, but if you have something that is really good for reoccursion, whenever your creatures die that have haste, like Ball Lightning or anything like that, you can sacrifice other creatures, bring them onto the battlefield, maybe your ETB creatures, so you can have a big cycle of ETB creatures dropping down and hitting your opponent directly, and then swapping out to your hasty creatures at the next part. So you'll be swinging in for your hasties, you'll sacrifice whatever's left, bring back your ETB creatures, and then just cycles over and over each turn until basically you win. Last but not least, we have Gratuitous Violence. If a creature you control would deal damage to a permanent or player, it deals double that damage instead, finishing off our hasty creatures and allowing you to not only deal damage double to them, but also allowing you to do it quadruple to them. That's right, that would basically be a TKO for something like Ball Lightning. Now, these are two very good ways of playing this deck. However, let me introduce you to the bonus section. Starting off with Rise of the Dark Realms is really good because it's a sorcery that allows you to put all creatures from all graveyards onto the battlefield under your control. Now, this is very good because all of your ETB creatures will be out, all of your hasty creatures will be out, and you also have all of your opponent's creatures were coming onto the battlefield as well. Helm of the Host will create you a copy of a creature, so it'll also give you your ETB triggers from this thing, because it will drop a creature and then it'll do the damage, and if it has haste, it will also be able to attack. So Rekindling Phoenix is really good with this, and there's a bunch of others that are really good with this as well. Last but not least, we have Eerie Interlude, which reads, exile any number of target creatures you control. Return those creatures under their owner's control at the beginning of the next end step, which means at the next end step, as long as you kept your commander, you will be able to get a bunch of triggers off of it. So, from Dragons of Tarkir, I really appreciate that there's a lot of really nice dragons in this set. Now, obviously, this is a dragon set, so they better have really good dragons, but I think that, personally, I'm gonna like this set, and I'm not a big dragon fan at all. No, I'm not really into it, I'm gonna be honest. Power just went out. That's awesome. So thank you guys for watching my videos, and I'll see you in the next one, I guess. Yep, link to my stuff down below. Thank you.